Hello, good afternoon. It's Friday the 4th of October. It's the Everton Daily Live. Me and John are here. John, some worrying news that Everton have a defensive duo, very doubtful for the game tomorrow. I mean, the stories around Branthwaite looks like he could be missing for up to a month.
Yep.
And the news has come out also that Mykolenko could potentially be missing the game as well. So that will be a big blow for Everton. Obviously got the first win last week with Branthwaite back in the side. So let's go by him first. How much of a blow is that going to be for Sean Dyche?
Well, the half-full version is he hasn't been there all season except for one game.
The only one we won.
Yeah. Sorry, the half-full.
Yeah.
Therefore, it shouldn't be too huge a blow, right? One would have expected a player out for that length of time might have a reaction. And in fact, the manager spoke yesterday, didn't he, about Patterson in that vein. So maybe he knows how important Branthwaite is, and he did come back a bit faster than you would if you were fully confident in what you have as an alternative. So I think it, psychologically, for the fan base, if no one else, it's a big blow. Let's hope it's nearer to 2 or 3 weeks than 4, because that means he's back after the next international.
I was going to say, I suppose the big advantage, if there is one, or the glass half full version, is it's coming an international break is upon us after.
So some of the outages.
So today you'll be getting treatment already today.
Of course,
so the rehab starts today.
Yeah.
And obviously the next couple of weeks then he's got to, hopefully if he responds well. Apparently it's a quad injury, which you can get through. If it's only a strain, that's fine. Obviously a quad tear is not very good. But if it's a strain, you can get that, and that simply happens because you've not been kicking through the ball regularly, and you can
overextend thing. Yeah,
you can overextend it in a game, and that you can get that tightness in your quad immediately, and obviously you'd have to be very, very careful with that. But if Everton, like I said, he will be receiving treatment today, so his rehab has already started.
Didn't train yesterday, did he? I thought I saw. Maybe it was Joe Thomas. I don't know.
Nobody said he was.
Well, Joe didn't say he didn't train. I think he said he trained up to Wednesday. So
he didn't train
implying
yesterday.
He didn't train
so
yesterday.
He's obviously tweaked it on Wednesday.
So the club and the manager have known there's an issue there, presumably.
And the manager
afternoon.
never addressed it, did he?
Well, maybe because he doesn't know the nature of it, because it's classic, isn't it?
Possibly.
How long is he out? As soon as you say he's out, someone says, how long? What is it? And you start getting asked questions that you don't know the answers to yet. And of course, the nature of the beast being that this is the last game before a break, the club probably don't need to say. Yes, he's being treated. We're optimistic.
He could have said he was missing for Saturday, couldn't he?
He could have done if he'd completely known, yeah, because some of these things rest fixes, don't they? So don't train. Let's go and see what it is. Maybe, for all we know, the manager might have thought he'd be back in training today, for example. We don't know, do we?
Who replaces him? It's going to Keane, isn't it?
Michael Keane, yeah.
I don't even know why I asked.
I mean, at some point, Jake O'Brien has got to start, hasn't he? Otherwise, you end up in a situation where he's never going to start, because the longer it goes, the harder it is. If you're going to blood someone in the Premier League, do it at home, which might suggest that he doesn't get to start, because if you go with Michael Keane, which is what you'd expect the manager to do, then you don't do it on an away game, which is the next one, and before you know it, Branthwaite's back again. Interesting one. I think his size would help him, psychologically as well, but not necessarily against Newcastle. I think.
No, well, like Everton will have an issue. Well, don't have an issue, but obviously a worry is Gordon's playing through the middle, who's very quick.
Yeah.
And obviously Branthwaite's quick, so we've lost that immediately. So we're going to be left with a bit, how can I say, a slower duo is probably the kindest way to say it. So that'll probably benefit Newcastle.
Yeah, I think there's the accumulative problem, and whether, whichever place you stand, if you will, around the circle, or looking in it and perceiving what we see, it's clear that, or it's not a surprise, that Tark looked back to himself, is closer to himself because he had Branthwaite by him.
Yeah.
And they are a good unit together. And therefore, it's a lesser unit when it's not Branthwaite. Yeah. And that's just not on Michael Keane's performance. It's on the performance of the duo. I think Branthwaite allows Tark to play in a certain way. Perhaps he doesn't think he can when someone other than Branthwaite is there. So a bit of an issue, and then the full-back thing is an issue because we've already got a right-back problem. So you could actually have a 3/4 of your back four and not starters as a matter of routine, couldn't you? In those positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Toffees has just very kindly gifted 10 people Everton YouTube membership. So thank you very much. Or the people who you've gifted, sure will say thank you very much. Corin on the YouTube membership says, hello lads, great, more bad news. I think we need a left back in January. Well, it looks like there's some reports today that Vitaly Mykolenko is going to miss out as well tomorrow. Obviously,
that's coming out of the national teams.
Ukraine, a journalist. So I think there's obviously an issue with Miko. He's been injured on and off, hasn't he? This accelerates Everton's need for a left back, doesn't it? In January, you know,
and right back.
Well, the right back's an argument one, isn't it? Because we had it yesterday. There's 4 right backs in Everton's first team squad.
4 players who can play right back.
And James Campbell. Nathan Patterson's a right back.
That's what I mean. No,
Roman Dixon's a right back.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Seamus?
Seamus Coleman
Ashley
is a right back. Ashley Young is a right back.
That's 4.
And James Garner is can play right back. So we've got 4.5 right backs.
Yeah.
We've got 1 left back.
No.
That's the issue.
But 2 of your 4, the manager won't play.
But that's a managerial problem. It's not a squad. If I'm Kevin Thelwell and the manager said to me, I'd like us to look at a right back in January, I'd say, just shut the door on your way out, mate, because there's 4.
Which of these should we get rid of?
There's 4.
Yeah.
So that's a Sean Dyche problem.
No, it is.
That's not an Everton squad problem. However, the left back is an issue because obviously now,
if
Mykolenko's out, Young's going back to left back, where he played, to be fair to Ashley Young, had a good game at Leicester.
He was okay.
Goes back to left back. So James Garner comes back in now at right back, the lad that couldn't get,
He's got to be bold,
started at right back at Leicester, was out the team last week, is back in the team at right back now.
How bold do you want to be, Baz?
No, but what he might say, I couldn't question the manager on if Garner starts, because he might say to me, listen, Nathan Patterson's had 60 minutes and 63 minutes. He's not fully fit, so I'm not going to play him.
Would you put pace in the team instead?
But I think I'd go... My only issue, I think me and Ped spoke about this yesterday, the only issue with Roman Dixon, and it's only a small one, but it is also kind of a big one in some respects, is that Harvey Barnes is very good and is playing really well for Newcastle and plays down their left-hand side, because obviously Anthony Gordon goes through the middle at the moment because there's no Isaac and I don't think Callum Wilson's fit either.
That's right.
So Gordon's the auxiliary centre-forward for them right now. Harvey Barnes, very experienced, very good. He's quick. So Roman Dixon can negate that. He's fast. It's whether or not you trust in Roman Dixon instincts to be able to mark a live wire of a winger.
Sure.
Or are we saying James Garner, who's got the experience in the Premier League, which the manager really likes, but can be found wanting positionally?
Yes.
At times, are you trusting him? So are you saying
he's not particularly quick?
He's not quick. He's not slow, Garner, but he's not a sprinter. Or are you going, I'm going to gamble with Patterson, who's only had 2 60-minute games? Now, Patterson's been training every day for a while, so we'll feel himself that he's available to start. I'm not convinced the manager will think like that. And the manager gave me zero confidence that he was thinking like that in the press conference either. He sort of went, after the international break, maybe. He didn't seem... he's not convinced at all by Patterson.
Here's a question for you.
So,
do you expect, here and now, Patterson to be on the bench?
Yes.
Right.
100%.
So, would you be bold and start Dixon with Patterson on the bench?
Me personally, I'd go with Roman Dixon. Right?
Because the pace there is cover for Gordon as well, don't you? Yeah.
But I wouldn't go 2-footed in on Sean Dyche if he didn't play.
No,
because I understand
I can see the risk. It's a risk.
The risk of it. But I just think what Dixon gives us. See, a couple of things with Dixon, right, is that being impressed with him sort of against the likes of Southampton. Going forward, I was impressed with him. But positionally, I wasn't impressed with him. I wasn't impressed with him, but he's been caught out a couple of times positionally. I do think he gives the ball away too cheaply, and that's simply because probably at under 21 level, you can play riskier passes. I think the Premier League, quite clearly, is about 40 levels up from what the 21s are. So I think he's got to learn that, but you only learn that by playing games of football. And I think...
So how do you balance all of that, which I agree with, and I think you're right on the manager front, that no one should be holding his feet to the fire if he goes with, let's call it, a less bold, forget risk for now, a less bold decision around the defensive quartet.
Yeah.
If you're putting Michael Keane in the absence of a typical centre-forward, what is he giving to you? And is there an alternative? And I don't mean three at the back, right?
He's not going to play Jake O'Brien.
No.
So forget about that. Because he's just not going to play him. Because Keane's his go-to. Don't forget he name-checked Michael Keane last week.
Oh, he does often, yeah.
Talked about Branthwaite and he immediately went to Michael Keane first.
No,
so
I
Michael
know
Keane
he's got his view.
is his blue-eyed boy, which is fine. Because he trusts managers, trusts players, no problem with that. Michael Keane, if you just look at his performance, has he give Everton goals away this season on a regular basis? No.
No. I don't think it's about his personal performance.
No, but this is what I'm saying. I'm trying to say and be as kind as I can to Michael because I think he's been all right. But the fact is, when that unit that he's in isn't as tight as when Branthwaite's in it, I think that's just fact. So Michael Keane will come back in. So that's not even up for debate. I understand what you're saying. What we getting from that? Well, it's him or O'Brien. If O'Brien was really quick, then you'd go, well, O'Brien has to play, but he's not, is he? I don't think he's particularly slow, but he's not particularly...
Is he quicker than Keane and or Tarkowski? That's the thing. But you're leading towards a world where we have James Garner at right back, Tarkowski, Keane and Young. None have got pace, and you've already name-checked Anthony Gordon and Barnes.
And Jacob Murphy.
So all that leads quick. All that leads to low block.
But that's what we'll play anyway.
Yeah, I know. Low block at home. You know, putting pressure on that back four because it's been got at.
Yeah, because with ease. Well, we're going to keep kicking the ball to them, aren't we?
Indeed. So then you're into, well, you need the screening in front of them to be effective then. So who are you putting in there? Mangala and Gay or... Yeah.
Right? Decore comes out for me.
Yeah, Decore comes out. And what about your offensive side? Are you going to sacrifice anyone to be tighter?
Lindstrom won't play.
Right.
He won't play anyway.
No, he won't play
Lindstrom.
Lindstrom.
His arms up last week. So it'll be Harrison.
So you're saying Harrison to try and protect Garner in some respects. And then on the other side, Dwight McNeil doing whatever Dwight McNeil does. Or is he going to play in the middle of it?
Play where
and it's in Dye. So in Dye's
in front of
work ethic.
Yeah, but that's okay.
His work ethic is
the left-hand side, no issue.
Yeah.
And it's the right back, isn't it?
Yeah. Or Rhodes lead to that as a challenge.
And then... But he would say, well, he's got Jack Harrison in front of him, Garner, so it's fine. The problem is, you see, what you've got to remember is with taking a gamble with Dixon, and again, like I say, I'm not studying going, if the manager doesn't play Roman Dixon, he's a joke. I'm not saying that in the slightest.
No,
but what Roman Dixon does give you is, like you just said, is that recovery pace. They are quick, and none of our other players are quick. And therefore, Dixon can go and mop it up. The other thing is Dixon's an outball because of his pace. If you've got pace that can worry the opposition, then that gives you a real...
What's Barnes playing for them? I don't watch Newcastle, right? Is he playing as a winger or as a wing back?
No, he's a winger, left winger.
Right, so who's behind him?
It's been tricky, but he went off.
Right.
So it could be Dan Burn, who's massive, but not particularly quick. Burn, I think, plays centre-back in midweek.
Right.
But Burn has been in their back four.
Because the question there would be, again, because we're just hypothesising, aren't we, really?
Lewis Hall's a good little player and he's the left back.
Because one of the advantages you may get putting Dixon in is that you give their offensive players some defensive duties.
But you got to.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. James Garner's, and this is nothing against, I like James Garner as a footballer. This is nothing against James Garner. But he's not worrying Newcastle's left back, is he, in the slightest?
Yeah.
He'll be there concentrating. Last week against City, they went with Lewis Hall, who is a good footballer, and he's quick, left-footed. Their back four last week, Trippier at right back, Shah, Dan Burn, Lewis Hall. Now Trippier went off injured. They've got a little bit of a worry over him. But Hall will be the left back, I imagine. I think Liv Morento, was back in. Yeah, he's back, isn't he?
Well, it's crystal clear that as a team, they are set up, and City play into this, don't they, to get in behind with pace. And our default, whether we're at home playing Doncaster or we're away playing Manchester City, is
it's just the same.
Is a very robust, or attempting to be robust, low block. So what becomes key then is ball retention on transition. So Dom needs to be on it, and we need to get up the field when we can get up the field. But as soon as you get up the field, then you run the risk of being in behind again. So it's almost like the script's been written, mate, already.
I guess the manager will look and say, well, Mykolenko doesn't really go forward anyway, because he doesn't. Does he? He's a defensive.
He's been doing it more with Ndai.
But he is a defensive full.
No, you're right.
Like last week, he didn't really. There wasn't many times he got behind.
But Ashley Young can do what he's done.
No, exactly. So, so we'll just say, well,
recovery with
we're
Ashley
losing nothing offensively on the other side. Jacob Murphy is quick, so Young will have to be on his mettle there. And obviously, the problem with Young is he's rash at times.
He is. And
he gets a booking early on, then it's an issue again, then, isn't it, with the pace? But on the other side, there is that worry that James Garner's not going to... I just think with Roman Dixon, it's two jobs he's doing. He's a right back, but he's defensive recovery pace, but he has the out ball. He can travel with the ball. Now, how much value does the manager put on that? I don't know. But I imagine the back four will be James Garner, Michael Keane, Tarkowski and Ashley Young.
If nothing else, it's safer. But so if Patterson was on the bench, as you suggest, or said, your view.
Well, he will be, yeah.
Roman Dixon won't, will he?
No, he might leave Dixon off the bench. He may well. Or he might have him for the two, just in case.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, Dixon may well be, because the players are they're going down like flies, aren't they? So,
yeah.
You know, the two out there, Everton's bench last week, for the first time, had some stronger players on it.
Yes, well, Lindstrom will be on it this week.
Two of them. So. Yeah, but Harrison's in. So
yeah, that's what I mean. You just swap them two.
So last week, it was Harrison, Garner, Guy, Virginia, Keane, O'Brien, Irabun, Armstrong and Beto. There was no two goalies. We may respond with two goalies this week. But obviously with two out the first team, so that means straight away, in my opinion, James Garner's in and Michael Keane's in. So the two down on the bench, there'll be a flip for Lindstrom with Harrison and a flip for the court. So there's still two down on the bench. So even if you go with the goalkeeper, see, Roman Dixon wasn't sub last week. Does he just go with Patterson and no Roman Dixon and another goalkeeper, or does he go with the two? Does he go with Dixon and Patterson on the bench?
See, won't we? Was it 4:15 tomorrow?
You'll find out at 4:15 tomorrow.
While you're thinking, can I do two things?
Do whatever you want.
One is, and he better be watching, a guy come up to me at the Leicester game and said, give us a shout out next time you're on Toffee TV.
Okay.
I can't remember his name.
Well,
so if you're watching, but more importantly, Kenny from Bermuda's here. Premier member. Who's sat on the sofa over there grinning at us, yeah?
Got through the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, well, you passed the first test, which was finding the studio, yeah?
I find my ways around.
Right, so welcome, my friend, welcome, yeah?
Good lad.
And he's drinking, you know, he's got a good cup,
he's
yeah?
Got a drink, yeah.
It's the Anfield win.
There you go.
So anyway, the Leicester guy, tell me, you know, and I'll do it next time.
Whoever you're at. Yeah. Rob, who's a YouTube member, said when I said yesterday 2-0, I'm having to have a rethink about that.
Oh, he said 2-0 for Everton, presumably.
Now he's having a rethink. Emma, who's now a YouTube member, says, I'd like to think this was the game for O'Brien. They're a big side. Corin, who's also a YouTube member, said, what's the point in buying a new centre-back and not playing him?
Bought for the future.
I don't know.
Yeah, bought for the future.
Yeah. Corin says, oh, Baz, I forgot a winger with pace in January as well. Yeah. Possibly. Emma says, should be Stadium FC. That's all they care about by the looks of it. Cue the Sunday morning update video.
I think that's quite bitter and incorrect, to be honest. Yeah. If the club were not doing regular updates on how we're getting on with the stadium, we'd be criticising them for that instead.
I think it's probably just timing.
Yeah. I mean, the stadium's going great. The primary objective of the football club is to be in this division and get the stadium completed. Being in this division requires us to win football matches, so that's what we're trying to do. Yeah, I hope.
Tommy Kay, who's a Forest fan, is also a YouTube member. So
Hey, well done, Tommy.
He's right, Tom.
Rock on.
Yeah. It's
You have to be a certain age. Yeah, sorry.
One for the ages there, John. So that's the back four, isn't it?
It is.
I do think that Idrissa will come in for Abdoulaye Doucouré.
Yeah. Wasn't great last time out.
No.
Home games, he's not as effective as he is away.
He is better away,
Yeah.
Seems better away. Ukrainian media are reporting Mykolenko's out for 2 to 3 weeks with a calf injury.
Okay. So him and Branthwaite both out similar length, if not a bit longer.
Touch and go for Ipswich.
Yeah.
Which is already feels like a massive game.
Yeah.
Not great. Someone made a comment about Dyche fit before. The irony of it all.
You can die on that hill.
Yeah. He needs some.
They haven't looked fit so far this season.
See, I think if I was
getting injuries, maybe you get injuries because you're not fit.
I'd move away from Dyche fit. I'd move away from Gaffer days. When I don't win a game in August, I'd be embarrassed to even to mention it. But there you go. Alex, Premier member, says, afternoon, lads. Given the takeover, the freeing of Dett's new stadium and our positive PSR position, do you think there's a chance Branthwaite stays beyond next summer and eventually signs a new deal? I know Paul Joyce has said we want to give him a new deal. Wouldn't it be great if we actually kept our best asset and prospect and built around him?
I think there's a chance that he doesn't go next summer. Contractually, we're not forced to. So
he's into 2 years, though, isn't
yeah, well, it would be, wouldn't it? You don't go and then we want you to sign a new contract, yeah? But the reality is that every player has a price. We're certainly in a place, aren't we, where we would hope to get the price that we think he's worth, whether that's in a bundle about, what add-ons and all that sort of stuff. But we're assuming there's going to be a big, long queue, and there should be. But until you get closer, you don't know, do you? Until you get close, you don't know. Great statement for the new owners to announce soon after change of control. And Jared Branthwaite has signed an extension to his criticism.
No, it's for him, isn't it? I just don't. I said to Ped earlier in the weekend to Jack that I think he's going to get to where he needs to be far quicker than we're going to get to where we need to be.
Yeah, I agree with you.
If you're Branthwaite, why on earth would you stay at this football club?
Where does he go where he becomes a starter straight away?
Man United.
Right.
Straight in.
So that's what I mean. So that's one club, right?
City, maybe.
Do you think he'd start for City?
He's brilliant.
No, but do you think he would go straight into City's team? John Stones did, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he might. Yeah. If they're convinced enough to bid for him in the first place, then yeah, I think they'd play. I think Pep would love him.
It's not great, right, for individual players, but City finding themselves in a place where they might want to play John Stones in midfield actually leaves a slot for someone called Branthwaite. Now, we know the player will be playing again before this crystallises, but they're provocative enough to try and offer dosh for him in January, aren't they?
Maybe. The other thing as well, what City like to do, don't forget, is they like to play centre-backs at left-back.
They do.
They've done it with Nathan Ahi. Guardiola's done
to bed him in.
as well.
Yeah.
Left-footer, Branthwaite's
that.
Bayern Munich were linked with him, an interest in him. Obviously Liverpool, but I don't see a world where
that's hilarious, that one.
I mean, what's really funny...
shaking his head with that one.
What's really funny about the Liverpool thing is Liverpool aren't interested in him.
No.
They probably realise Everton wouldn't sell him.
And they haven't got the money, probably.
And they don't want to pay that kind of money for him.
Yeah.
They can get other players for a lot cheaper. So, but I just think for him, regardless, I think for him to sign a new deal, Everton would have to splurge in January on some attacking players or players who you go, oof, these want to change the story here, which I don't see happening. They'd have to have a manager who he believes in, can change the football club. And if the current one's here, I don't think he believes in that. And even then, Everton would have to probably give him 150 grand a week, which is what United offered him, 165, it was reported that. There's a lot of big things would have to happen for him to be in that position where he was convinced that we were on an upward trajectory. I'm not sure. I think Everton are going to try to downplay everything until the stadium and then try to start from there. And I think that for him would be too long, if that makes sense. I think if you're... I brought up the Lukaku stuff the other day.
I was going to mention Romelu.
Right, so
we missed an opportunity to make a statement to him back in the day.
That was it. We had the January window. We had a ton of money to be able to spend. There was no limits at that time, don't forget, because PSR wasn't really a thing. And he was saying 3 or 4 plays. He suggested a couple who he thought would really turn it. And Everton bought Morgan Schneiderlin instead. And that was it. Lookman was just there.
See, there's an interesting thing here, because you do it almost just then from a sporting perspective, right? If I do it from a commercial perspective, I'm Branthwaite, for example, or his agents, I'm thinking, well, yeah, I'll sign a new contract. What's the value to me of a new contract? More money while I am here. So that's the first thing. But I say, yes, I'll sign a new contract as long as there's a release clause in it. And I then set my price, right? And it's that number has to be, if I'm the representative, a number which I think more than one club would be prepared to pay, because that's how he gets the best paycheck, right? If I'm then on the other side of the negotiating table, then, and I'm particularly in a world where there's new ownership, you're going into a new stadium, the financial pressures are coming off, I convince his agents, we're happy to let him run his contract down, lads. We really are. He's so good. He's a good professional. He's only going to get better. And we'd rather have him in our team for 2 years, right, than let him walk out the door at the wrong price at the wrong time. Now, is this summer the wrong price? We don't know until people make offers or clubs make offers. Is it the wrong time? Going into a new stadium with new owners? Perhaps it is. So there's a halfway house there, which is your classic, give us another year. And you've got to have that hard negotiating. I actually think the people we have at the club right now are just living in a world where he'll go regardless. And we just try and get as best we can for him. And if we've made the emotional decision, and even an objective decision, that he's going to go, have we got the testicular fortitude to hold out for the right price? And he doesn't go if the price doesn't come. And that's back to Kevin again about what
we did this year.
We did this year, but maybe it was an easier thing to do this year because he had a longer term on his contract and so on. Yeah. And we weren't necessarily going to spend huge sums of money. But we've got a squad to rebuild. Yeah. So it's an interesting one. But I think you have to set the scene with potential suitors and avoid being in a situation where the player's agent thinks they hold all the cards. And that's what I was talking about back in the day with Lukaku. You know, yes, you talked about the demands he made, but we could also have offered him a huge sum of money to sign a new contract, and we didn't do that either.
He was offered a big bit of money.
Not enough, in my view, but yeah.
But I think he quotes players, though, didn't he?
And therefore, in doing all that, right, at the moment, we're not doing those things which give us some edge in negotiations. And part of that edge, spun all the way around now, is playing Jake O'Brien. And let's find out if he's the deal or not to step into the shoes. Because we've got to be letting Keane go at the end of the the season. And right now, I would say odds are he gets an extension.
I don't think he will.
No, I agree with you, but that doesn't mean the odds
don't change. If the manager stays, he'll get an extension.
It's an easy decision, and it's a decision that the director of football will make. Giving Michael Keane an extra year is easy to do, and it'll be justified under experience in the squad, and before you know it, he's starting every game again. So it's an interesting one. So time for, if the rumours are correct about Kev's getting a new deal, give it to him, but on the back of a plan. Yeah, and it covers all these bases.
Tommy, I know you were gifted it. Danny says, I hope he starts Tim and O'Brien tomorrow. Don't mind playing crap as long as we get the 3 points. I think he might possibly
playing Tim and O'Brien would be playing crap. No, it's not.
Someone said easy, put.
Tim's not going to start.
No, there's no chance. Someone said easy, put Keane up front and play O'Brien. Andrew says, how has this now become an acceptable loss because the manager doesn't have his first choice 11?
No.
Because I've been getting told we're going to be Sam when Branthwaite returns.
No. There's no such thing as an acceptable loss, is there?
To us, there isn't, but to the football club, I think there is. Everton Vikings says, do you think the court case will affect the takeover?
Read the bloody tweets I've replied to you on. Yeah.
No. He says, massive blow with
You have to watch BWB, won't they?
Yeah, just what? Yeah, me and John have done it this morning.
Yeah,
He
we talked
sums
about it
up
for
for
about
us.
an hour, a few hours ago. So
Everton Vikings says, massive blows, but we need to figure out how to win without Branthwaite, or the manager's not doing his job. Mark Mack says, just go out and attack. We can't defend, so get rid of the low block nonsense.
apart from the unit being a bit more effective, do you think Branthwaite had a good game?
Last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
First 20 was a bit shaky, but
That's
after
what I mean,
that,
yeah.
he was his numbers were incredible.
Yeah, I mean, second half, he was almost bang up to speed, wasn't he? So
Rouge says he's not going to be able to make it over from Australia, but he's not going to make it to the studio. He's only coming to Liverpool tomorrow and leaving on Sunday. Can't believe Branthwaite's out. It makes the build-up to the game and the line-up so much more intentional. Get on club call next week is right, mate. Enjoy your trip.
Yeah.
Paul says if both are out, then Young will have to play left back and I'd play Dixon at right back.
Oh, we just had that conversation, so he's with us, yeah. But then again, it's not our job that's at risk, is it?
No. Blue Keeley, Young at left back, Dixon or Pato at right back. Jake Ablett says O'Brien has to come in instead of Keane. Don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Owen says Deitch will go Garner right back, Young left back and Keane with Tahi. Yeah.
He's right, I think. Yep.
Yeah. Harry says if we lose to Newcastle, it's time off for the manager. Or to do these injuries, let him off the hook again tomorrow. For me, 4 points from 7 games. It's time to go. No excuses.
You need a replacement then.
2 weeks to get one.
Well, hopefully they've thought it through already, but yeah.
Don't know, mate. Who knows? It's hard to say, isn't it? It's hard. The return on points is absolutely atrocious again, but we'll see. Andy says, Baz John, would you play Dixon in a back five as a wing back to help out 3 centre backs? Young or McNeil at left wing back?
No, I'd play him at right back.
Yeah, I
In a
think
four.
if you mess around with it too much, then I don't know, because we did play well when we had a couple of games with 3 at the back last season. We had a couple of good results, one at Villa in the Cup and one at Burnley, but don't know. It's a different thing, isn't it, altogether? You're trying to move it around. And Owen says the side he'll put out tomorrow is already looking very negative, as we will play with 6 defensive players and Harrison basically sitting in tight with Garner. So 3 players looking to get in the box. Hope I'm wrong, but looking like he'll go for a 0-0 or a 1-0 win. Hence why I struggle with Deitch. Sooner lose and having a go at home.
I think how Dom plays and is used and Die makes a big difference to what happens. Ball retention needs to be a hell of a lot better than it has. Not with those two, but generally. Just lumping it up and hoping Dom gets to it and then dies somewhere near is not really going to cut it, is it?
Blue Keeley says he puts 2 keepers on the bench, so why not 2 right backs? Also says, do you think Dixon could eventually become a right winger?
No.
No, I don't think he's got the skill set to be a right winger. There's a reason why your better players play in the front areas and your worst players play at the back. There's just
Gary Neville knows all about that.
reason. There's a reason for it. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is.
And Carragher knows it as well.
But more skillful players play. Well, Jamie
play-
Carragher was a striker till he was 17, 18.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
So, that's
When the
how-
physical advantage ran out, he moved backwards, yeah. Did all right though, didn't he?
Well, he didn't have a bad career, did he?
Yeah.
But that's it, isn't it? Where are we? Done a refresh there. Emma says, I can't even believe giving Keane an extension is even a conversation. It's a one-sided conversation because I'm not playing any part in it. John's just putting the hypothesis out there. I'm letting it just wash over me because I don't, again, I'd say I'd be amazed, but if this manager stays, I think it's a big probability that Michael Keane gets another extension.
Even if he doesn't stay, the number of players that need to be replaced, in the current squad, there's going to be some easy decisions for the director of football.
Keeping someone on $100,000 a week.
Well, I didn't say how much he was getting paid.
No.
I didn't say how much he was getting paid. clearly you'd want to save money on his wages, and if he says no, thank you, he makes the decision for you.
Yeah,
I'd offer him a year right now, half his money.
I wouldn't.
See what happens.
I'd tell him now you need to find a new club.
And know that half of that money that I'd save him with him, I'd offer to Branthwaite. No increase in cost.
I think we
whatsoever.
just need to forget about Branthwaite as a club. Just accept he's going, because people just...
See, I think that's not helpful.
It's not. It's less helpful than saying Michael Keane will get a new contract.
I know, but it's not helpful because it devalues him, because it becomes a given that he's going. And if it turns out to be only one club are prepared to stump up the money, it'll be less than we'll get if there's competition.
Michael Keane won't be at Everton next season. That's my prediction. That is my prediction. Scarp up game and says I'm quitting if Everton give Michael Keane an extension. And Mark Cody said Dyche won't be here anyway. So
No,
Keane ain't
Dyche
getting a
will
new
not
contract.
be here. That's more worrying than any other.
Mr. Blue Skies says no way we can give Keane an extension. Makes me ill thinking about it. Get him up front. He's tremendous up front.
Is he, heck?
He's tremendous. No one hits a ball like him in our front three.
In the box, yeah, but there's other stuff you have to do.
No one hits the ball like Michael Keane in the box.
I think Dwight McNeil would.
He's not a striker, is he? Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if he could shoot like Michael Keane, it'd be amazing.
Oh, he would, yeah.
That's
Keane.
Keane.
Another one who's going in the summer, mate. Yeah.
Going in January, by the sounds of it. Well, he might have a good game tomorrow because he's got to remind Newcastle
to offer him more money.
Basically, so he'll be up for it tomorrow.
Look what you could have had.
So Everton have got to try to play into that. The problem, I think, you sort of touched on it before. I think the real problem is if we're playing like I know we will play tomorrow, and you've got an inferior defence, and you're asking for trouble because
that's exactly where I was.
You just keep giving them the ball back.
Yeah,
and these aren't capable.
It's just a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time for you behind.
And then Pickford gets the blame then or something.
And then
or an individual gets the blame, I should have said.
And then you turn around and go, well, we come back last week against Palace, but that's the first time we've done it. You know what I mean? And you can't go, well, we'll go behind again. I'm not saying we will, because we might kick off and score in the first minute. Teams do it. Brentford keep doing it, don't they? It's whether you can build on it. And I just think if you keep giving the ball away, and again, I keep saying it, I'm not an advocate for 900 passes for a team at the end of a game. That's not how I want to see Everton play. But I also don't want to see my team, particularly at home, just lumping a ball
cheap
and open.
Ball for the opposition.
You've got to be able to move the ball around. Whether you like Crystal Palace, whether you think they're rubbish or not, you could see what they're doing. They moved the ball really well. Okay, they looked a little bit. They weren't great in the final third. They can get Eze just flitted in and out like, Mr. Big Time last week. But you can see what they do, the way they move the ball and they get it and they pass it through the thing. We've seen it with Southampton, reserve team. Okay, Southampton are not very good, but at least they keep the ball and therefore relieves a little bit of pressure. Where we just seem quite happy to give the ball away and hope that our defenders can keep it out the net. And I think when you're in that mindset, I think you are hoping more than it's a proper plan. You are hoping that the opposition don't take advantage. You're not going, I don't mind giving the ball up if you're in control of the game, because you can be like that. If you've got real pace in wide areas.
That's where I was going.
Go ahead, have the ball. We'll just nick it and then bang, we're gone. But that's not ever.
If you, which we do, and it doesn't seem to matter who the opposition is. We saw that in League Cup games with lower league teams bossing the ball and stuff like that. But if Newcastle are sitting down this afternoon or in the morning, whatever, doing their refining of tactics, they're sitting there going, well, lads, we're going to have lots of the ball. On turnover, it'll come back to us. So they don't panic. They're going to sit on the edge of their box and eventually they'll make a mistake or we'll do something. And then if they rock up, and we put some pace in the team, like Roman Dixon, for example, and we got Ndiaye on the other side, we go, oh, hang on a minute, we have to have a bit of a think here. We can't just camp out on the halfway line because blah, blah, blah. And so it's not so much we give up the ball, we give up the initiative. We say to the opposition, get comfortable. We're not easing ourselves into the game because we never have the ball. The opposition are. They're moving it around, they're progressing up the field. If they lose it, they make a mistake, it comes straight back to them. I mean, it's crazy.
Mad.
Totally crazy.
Glenn says, John the business can't complain with a new Lexus RX corporate car blame.
Not me.
Where does Glenn
must
come
have a
up with
Lexus
these?
RX, yeah. Well done, lad, yeah.
How long until we see the changes coming in from the Freaking Group? 100 days from takeover.
He's read me Substack.
He has, yeah.
Yeah, 100 days is a good time for them to give some messaging out. That makes us all feel better. Yeah, and within those 100 days, certainly the stadium will be finished and will be in the new year, so the window will be open and the test events will be starting for the stadium, blah, blah, blah. They could do it reasonably quickly because they're going to announce people going on the board.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to see, whether it's Freaking son and he's the chair or whatever. But the people they put around them will be a really strong statement.
Yeah, that's true.
And they've been in Liverpool in the last couple of weeks reviewing stuff, so they know what they're inheriting and perhaps they already know how they can make a difference, which would be cool.
Good.
Just announce a stadium naming rights partner. That's
Improving
really
the
sexy.
golf handicap at the moment.
Well,
in
yeah.
Scotland,
I mean, where are they playing, do you know?
St Andrews it was.
Oh, okay.
Well, he was there Wednesday and Thursday. So.
There's some nice courses up there without having to play the big name one, but hey-ho.
But they're on the big name.
Good place for golf.
They're on the big name. Tom Blue says, cursed. That's defo on Deitch, this load of bollocks, all this Deitch fit malarkey.
Technical phrasing
there,
for the
yeah.
UEFA.
Gareth Hughes, not great news. Latest hospital appointment yesterday, and I need a new full right knee replacement.
Oh dear.
The rehab starts again.
Kenny might have a view on that. Yeah.
This illness is like Everton. Just when it can't get any worse, it does. He's had a bad time, Gareth.
Gotta hang in there.
He's had a
really
bad time.
Yeah.
Good luck with your rehab, mate.
Yeah.
Bill
do everything
says,
the physio says and a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Bill says, absolute disaster what they do in training. Also, not strengthening that left-back position is coming back to haunt us. We all know that Keane will be straight back into, should be in O'Brien's. It's painful. Questions need to be asked why he can't play and put Garner right back, young left-back. The manager will just say he doesn't know the nuts and bolts or he's not ready. Nobody will,
Has he not been on the grass enough?
He'll say he's not got the Premier League experience. He's not done. And again, the manager might be looking at him in training and thinking, not up to it, yeah.
He sees him more than we do.
So what does the manager say? He can't really come out in the press conference and go, he's not good enough. So all he can say is, we don't think he's ready yet. That's all you can say.
Well, that's what he's saying.
No,
he's saying he's not good enough. We need to be honest. I mean, so it happens throughout football, doesn't it? Players get better while they're sat on a bench because we only measure the ones who are on the grass, doing the nuts and bolts.
Exactly, yeah.
You could put him in and he could have an appalling game and people go, oh my goodness, and you could screw the guy's career just because you've thrown him in too soon. That would be the manager's story, which is a very sensible one.
Definitely. Everton Vikings says Keane should not be getting any new deals at all. Jonathan Ricketts says I'd go 3 at the back with Harrison and McNeil as wing backs and have Njai up top with DCL and have Guy, Mangala and Garner in midfield. But McNeil's doing well in the 10 now, so you're going to take him and shove him back on the left.
Too many changes. Surely the first is minimise the changes. If you're playing to a known pattern of play, which we might struggle to spot that, but yeah. It's a 4-2-3-1, isn't it? So go for it, man.
Simon says, hi guys, at home recovering from knee surgery.
Another one?
What's happening? You're all dropping like flies with your knees. What are your thoughts on the Jose Mourinho rumours? Can't see it myself, says Simon.
He's an impact. We talked about it on BWB, so we won't spoil that, will we? But impact manager.
Yeah.
Not long term.
Andy says, Baz, Everton could keep Branthwaite, but our club can't forward plan. Everton could sell Dom and Beto in January, sign Kevin Denke and his wages save, go to Branthwaite. Well, I was championing Denke in the summer, as you will be aware. Got a hat-trick last night in Europe. My thoughts, Andy, offering Branthwaite 150 grand a week doesn't change anything. He knows he's going to earn lots of money in his career. It's my opinion, and it's only my opinion. He'll just look and go, and keep doing what? Keep getting the ball and smashing it up there for this manager, or go and play for a big club. They're not interested. The footballers without any... Someone told me yesterday he's a Liverpool fan. I don't know whether that's real or it isn't real.
Who cares?
And what I'm saying is that the affinity to Everton
Never heard that before,
is
by the way.
neither here nor there.
No,
is it?
it's a job.
It's a job.
Yeah.
So if he's in and his agent and all that, don't forget he didn't kick up a fuss in the summer. When United wanted him, he could have down tools, he could have moaned, he could have put stuff out, he's unhappy, blah-de-blah-de-blah. He didn't, he got on with it. I think this is our bonus year. I think he's sort of
Quite
gone, I'll
possibly.
stay for another year.
The concern would be...
But we've still won one game in 6. So.
Yeah, the concern would be if we made a soft promise to him.
Done that before, haven't we?
That's what I mean, and that comes to bite you later.
I think
Because the other party knows that, and therefore you don't get full value.
I think there's a belief in the football club, though, that this is how they do stuff. They sort of go, there's not much we can do.
I think it's worse than a belief. It's an acceptance.
An acceptance, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it now to unravel myself from
if you're
the
preparing
heartbreak
yourself for what's going
of
to happen,
when he's
I
going to
get
go.
that.
I
get
just
that.
go, I don't see any way he stays. I'd love to be wrong. I would absolutely sit here and go, I am made up, I was wrong. Signed a new deal, he wants to be the captain, and he's saying, I'm leading Everton out in that new stuff. I'd be made up, but I just don't see it.
You say you don't see anything that would change that.
Other than them making big statements.
Change of ownership.
But
It has the potential to change that.
okay.
But if you were putting your pennies down, you're of course going to say, what we cannot be in is a place where there's only one club who wants him, because then we won't get best value. Unless we're prepared to prove that we won't let him go unless the price is right.
That's not on us, though, is it? That's up to other people. Some clubs might go, I'm not paying that money for him.
That's right. Well,
But
we
if
have
only
evaluation
United
view.
are the only ones who do it, who want to do it.
Well, they've
That's
allegedly
just the way it is.
bought theirs, even though they're not performing, are they? So
No, but they still want Branthwaite, don't they?
yeah.
Emma says, is it not Dyche's job to get him ready, as in Jake O'Brien?
Yes. And if I've checked, by the way, and apparently the only way you get Premier League experience is by playing in the Premier League.
I'd seen that somewhere. I can't remember where I've seen it. Might have been Wikipedia.
Could be.
Phil Gaming, 47 YouTube member, says, just don't go 2-0 up. We all know what happens. We collapse. Emma, well, it's not nice, Emma, is it? About Michael Keane, come on.
He's a nice man.
SR says, Rob Vanman, who is waiting for a shoulder up. What's going on?
Weak hospital radio.
Well, yeah, well, bloody Everton. Everyone's fallen to bits. Mykolenko, yes, Branthwaite's out for a month. SR says, we'll finish with this, says, good gesture by Big Dunk, not taking away to help the club. Yeah, he's not being paid, is he? For
Yeah, they're going to go
his
down,
job.
aren't they?
But they're in admin, they need 200 grand.
Yeah, I had to look at the Just Giving thing when I gave GoFundMe is actually. I handed some docs
Sad,
over,
isn't it?
But they were way off where they needed to be.
Oh, well, they will be, won't they? Because
It's all a bit 23.59, isn't it?
Well-
need it like now.
it's been happening. This is the thing. Duncan's, all of the players who were on any kind of money all went in the summer. No one stayed. He's got the younger squad, I think, in Scotland. I think
Sort
the
of
average age
mid-table,
is
aren't they?
19.
Yeah.
They don't lose. I think they
that's
played 8. They've won one.
Lots of draws.
Drawn 6 and lost 1.
Yeah.
But he's only got, I think the average age is 19.
Really? Is it that
'cause
low? And it
all,
was low.
They're all kids, so
Yeah.
he's got his hands full. It's amazing they're able to put a team out, to be honest, and compete. Not getting paid. There's lots of stuff going on. It's really difficult for him. And
There's a manager who's getting the best out of the resources available to him.
exactly, yeah, exactly. Phil Gaming 47 says Branthwaite will leave. We play crap football, crap manager who's a dinosaur. He'll go to a big club. John Van, you can
Hey,
talk.
John, hiya.
John's got it's grinding listening to you giving up on Branthwaite every week. Mate, we
You're being
can.
pragmatic, aren't you?
You either want me to be honest or I can sit here and be delusional.
Ooh.
Right? That's no, but
No, you sound like Deitch, mate.
I'm not.
I'll be honest.
I can sit here and talk about making him the captain, building it, but
No,
it's
you're
nonsense
right.
because it
You're
doesn't
right.
happen.
You're right.
I've just said to you, I would love to be wrong. Absolutely love. I'm only responding to people asking me
Sure.
if I think he'll stay. I don't think he'll
Ask me.
stay. John, do you think Branthwaite will
No.
be an Everton? There you go. I think if you've done a poll, John Van, of whether Evertonians think Branthwaite will be playing for Everton Football Club next season, I think the majority would say no. But if you've done a separate... Exactly. But if you asked Evertonians, would they love him to be playing? I'm at the front of the queue with a flag for him. I'd love him to stay. Yeah, absolutely. Go on, mate.
Look at the screen and can you tell me what the deliberate mistake is in this picture?
As I can't see.
Yeah,
from
because
here.
why is it 2023?
Is that? Yeah, it says.
It's 2025.
Oh right,
There's
okay.
a glaring
sorry.
obvious issue with this picture, I believe.
On a screen that big for us, by the way, people.
Well,
Yeah.
Look at it, just look at it.
I'm looking.
What does it have written on it?
Goodison Park.
And where are they?
Of Finch Farm.
Yeah, I know.
No.
So
They
you
should have
just-
gone to Goodison and done
Should have
it.
gone to Goodison.
Oh, they should have just green screen Goodison behind
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
They should have gone to Goodison and done it.
Yeah.
yeah. If that's supposed to be a memory of Goodison,
It looks like they've done it in a hanger.
it does. It does.
Why haven't they just green screen
It's
Goodison
not-
behind
Go
them?
to Goodison,
No, I know, but I'm
Isn't
just
that the
saying.
indoor?
It's
pitch?
the indoor
Yeah.
pitch of Finch Farm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But they just put a tweet out going, our first picture in our last.
But you're the sort of guy who sits there looking for things to criticise.
No,
aren't you?
I know what, John, I am, because I strive for perfection.
They're the things, though,
They're
aren't
the
they? If
details,
you're
yeah.
selling that as Goodison and it's at Finch Farm,
Also, if when I was a kid, I had all those pictures on my wall.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that
No,
aesthetically pleasing.
mate, I agree
Mm.
with you. It'd be better if it was Goodison. But the thing is, if you criticise absolutely everything someone does, the ones that really matter, no one listens because they go, well, they always criticises, so it's what it is.
No, besides everything.
the reality
But
of
I'm
it,
with you. They could easily have green screened it
the
to be anywhere
reality
they
of
liked.
if it's a
Yeah,
Goodison, this is an iconic year,
of course.
so just go to Goodison.
What is that anyway? You just said they've tweeted it. It's just a picture, or do you want to buy it? Or
No, they tweeted a picture of the first team that played at Goodison. And that's
Right, John.
Oh, right.
I tell you what, John, I just won't give an honest opinion then. If that makes you happy, then that's where we'll sit. If that's what you want, I'll just sit here.
we don't know what he said.
He's saying it doesn't help if you persist with the message, though. Put a positive spin.
No, I don't
Pragmatist
think it-
or
How
defeatist.
about we just don't talk about?
Yeah, I just won't ever
just
speak
don't
about
talk
him.
No one
Yeah.
asked the question.
Did you?
We know
He was answering questions.
know-
I've answered 8
No.
questions from people asking me.
I know.
Just don't ask me if I think you'll be.
He's leaving at the end of the season, one way or another.
We all expect him to leave.
Yeah, so why? There's no point having a conversation. Like, we should be talking about the things that are happening right now. Like, when are we sacking the manager?
Well, John will totally be on side with you if
I'm
if
not.
you spin
Again,
it to that.
like I
absolutely.
keep saying, I don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I hope and would love nothing better from him to stay because I love him. But I feel like I'm in bonus time with him
Yeah.
because I look at my football club. If Everton were chasing Europe, I'd be going, shut up, give him a 5-year deal, give him 300 grand.
I think to some degree, right? Not some, because I've said it before. John is right. We have accepted he's going, and that doesn't put us in our best position to maximise the sale price, right? So if the football club, sorry, it's not us, not fans of me. If,
Say I'm not doing the
if the
negotiating.
no, that's right. If the football club have accepted he's going, then they're not trying to optimise what we get for him. And maybe I think that's where John partially is coming from. But I don't think what we say on this channel or any fan says about expecting it to happen has a material impact on that.
I just don't know when someone asks
But
me
the
a
culture
question,
within the club is the challenge.
what I'm supposed to say then.
Honest answer.
Something that I don't believe.
Your opinion.
It's fine.
Your
Right.
opinion.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Lots of people agree with me. Well, nearly everyone agrees with me.
Well,
So
that's
there you
what-
go. Thanks, Branthwaite, I believe. Right. We'll go and we'll be doing more than a game in about 10 minutes. So
Cool.
come and have a chat. Oh, well, come and have a listen today because there won't be any Branthwaite chat on there.
Unless someone asks you a question.
No, I'll ignore it.
All
I'm
right.
done now. I'm not going to. In fact, I'm just going to no comment every Branthwaite question I get now, even if they ask me.
But you're
is
going
he
to
fit?
promise to be answer all questions honestly, aren't you?
Apart from a Branthwaite one, which
Oh,
I
right,
will
okay.
no comment.
I'll answer all Branthwaite questions. I'll be the international Branthwaite correspondent.
Yeah, we'll go to you. We'll go to you.
Internet, you come over to me, I'll be standing outside, there'll be raining, I'll be holding the microphone and go, we're here live outside Branthwaite's house. Oh no, we're not, we're at Finch Farm because we took the wrong picture.
I do like
That's
that.
a great finish. Go
That's
for
a
it.
way to finish. Yeah, there's other ones.
Hit the
but
button.
Yeah,
Take care, people.
see ya.